Good evening, Chaos Crew. It's Saturday, and if you thought you were just tuning in for headlines, buckle up because we've got bombers in the sky, lawmakers redrawing reality, and me pushing a six-wheeled keep mobile around my yard like it's the Olympic poultry trials. From food stamp flops to stealth strike shockers, political power plays to gerrymandering gymnastics, this is your full body workout in WTF news. Served hot and feathered. I've got babies on my hip, keets in my rear view, and somehow still made it to basketball on time. So let's talk about it. Food fight in the Senate. Trump cuts hit a wall. Golden Dawn's big bad budget bill just hit a bureaucratic brick wall. And this time, it's not the Democrats, it's the Senate parliamentarian, the referee of the rule book. And she just threw a yellow flag on the GOP's proudest plays, slashing food stamps. Apparently, Republicans were trying to sneak in a little cost shifting trick, moving food stamp expenses from the federal level onto states, like tossing a hot potato across a crowded dinner table. But the parliamentarian said, not in my chamber. According to her ruling, this violates the Senate's rules. And while her decisions are technically advisory, let's be honest, they're treated more like the final word from Gandalf. You shall not pass. This food stamp shift was supposed to be a centerpiece of the GOP's savings effort. Translation, cut essential benefits from vulnerable people so the wealthiest can keep tax breaks so bloated they need their own zip code. Now, Republican leadership is scrambling like toddlers who just got told that there's no more screen time. They're on a tight deadline to get Golden Dawn's tax and slash package passed before the 4th of July because what's more patriotic than gutting aid to the poor while grilling steaks you wrote off as business expenses? Let's be clear, this wasn't just a paperwork hiccup. This is a serious blow to the MAGA economic agenda, one that tells struggling Americans to bootstrap harder while handing billionaires silk laces. What the media is saying? The left says this proves once again that GOP savings comes at the cost of human survival. The center, it's a procedural snag, but one that raises real questions about the legality of the proposal. The right says the Senate parliamentarian is unelected and shouldn't have this kind of power. My take, if your entire savings plan relies on punishing poor people while calling it fiscal responsibility, then your platform is just cruelty in a business suit. So much for keeping it cool, because as of today, we're officially in it. President Trump has now confirmed that the U.S. carried out airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Yep, we're not just playing backup anymore. We're flying lead in Israel's air campaign. These strikes followed over a week of intense Israeli bombardment targeting Iran's nuclear defenses. Golden Dawn proudly announced that all U.S. planes safely exited Iranian airspace after dropping a full payload, especially on Fordo. And then, in classic Whiplash fashion, declared, "Now is the time for peace." You can't make this up. We just bombed 3 of Iran's most sensitive nuclear sites and then tried to slap a world peace bumper sticker on the wreckage. Left-leaning coverage calls it a perilous decision, warning of regional chaos and highlighting Iran's threat of retaliation. Right-leaning sources are hailing it as a massive win, calling it a total and complete victory. That proved America's dominance. Center-leaning outlets are reporting the facts, targets, aircrafts, and timelines, without wading into the firestorm. But make no mistake, this is a major escalation. We've moved from posturing to direct engagement, and any hopes of nuclear negotiations with Iran now buried under 30,000 pounds of success. So while Trump claims it's time for peace, the rest of the world is holding its breath, because if this is what peace looks like, I'd hate to see the warm-up act for war. Gerrymandering for the win, or just a very suspicious walk in circles. While bombs are dropping abroad, Republicans in Ohio and Texas are over here redrawing the map like it's a kindergarten coloring project with congressional power on the line. According to new reports, the GOP is considering redistricting House maps in these 2 Republican-led states, not because of new census data, but because they're worried about losing their razor-thin majority in the House. Nothing says democracy quite like preemptively rewriting the rules so you can't lose. But it's not exactly a slam dunk. Redistricting could backfire. Moving safe Republican districts into bluer territories could actually put some GOP lawmakers in danger. That's the political version of rearranging your living room and accidentally blocking the bathroom door. Naturally, Democrats are calling this exactly what it looks like, manipulating maps out of fear of voters. If your policies are so unpopular you have to geometrically dodge accountability, maybe it's not the district that needs redrawing. Maybe it's your platform. Here's the breakdown. Democrats say the GOP is trying to gerrymander their way out of a midterm bloodbath. Republicans claim they're just balancing representation. Translation, making sure they can still win when fewer people vote for them. Political analysts say it's risky. It could backfire or it could tighten Republican control heading into 2026. Either way, it's a reminder that in American politics, it's not just about who votes. It's about who gets drawn into a district that counts. And apparently, the lines between representation and rigged have never been blurrier. Next up, quick hits because the news won't sit still. DHS says Chinese signal jammers are everywhere. The Department of Homeland Security is warning that Chinese made signal jammers are flooding the U.S., calling them tools of terrorism, which is exactly the kind of calm, measured language we like to use when everyone's already anxious about World War Wi Fi. Texas makes the Ten Commandments required classroom decor. New law just dropped. Every public school classroom in Texas must now post the Ten Commandments because nothing says freedom of religion quite like legislating one specific religion. Somewhere, the Constitution is sobbing in cursive. Utah rally shooter released pending investigation. The man arrested for firing shots at the No Kings rally in Utah has been released as the investigation continues because apparently firing into a political protest isn't quite enough for a solid charge anymore. Guess it's bring your lawyer to anarchy day. Mohammed Khalil returns from detainment, vows to keep protesting. After being detained abroad, Columbia student Mohammed Khalil is back in the U.S. and says he's not done speaking out against Israel's war in Gaza. If the administration thought an international timeout would make the student movement quiet down, they clearly haven't met a Columbia poli-sci major. Senator Mike Lee posts about Minnesota shootings, gets dragged by colleagues. Senator Mike Lee thought it was a good idea to post spicy takes about the Minnesota shootings. His colleagues, not so much. They're reportedly furious and not letting it go. The Senate may be ancient, but they've still got time for a group text roast. U.S. may target Samsung, Hynix, and TSMC operations in China. Washington is eyeing chip makers like Samsung and TSMC over national security concerns in China. So if your phone starts buffering during your next doom scroll session, blame geopolitics, not your Wi-Fi. Tesla's robo-taxi dreams hit a speed bump. The U.S. Auto Safety Agency is now revealing Tesla's answers on its robo-taxi plans. Translation, Elon's vision of a self-driving Uber revolution might be stuck at a red light labeled regulations. And after all that hot mess express of quick hits, bombers, commandments, signal jammers, and robo-taxis, I think we've earned a little something for the soul. Let's shift from code red to Keats and calm with today's Tell Me Something Good. Spoiler, it involves baby birds, a runaway brooder box, and the most high-stakes basketball mom moment you'll ever hear. Buckle up. Tell Me Something Good, the Keat Chronicles, Slam Dunk Edition. So this morning I decided to do something revolutionary, ask for help. I was interviewing a few ladies to come lend a hand around the farm. You know, the essentials like holding babies, feeding animals, and possibly standing in golden hour like holding my selfie ring at the right angle. Priorities. Anyways, I got so into the conversation, vibing, manifesting community, maybe a trauma bonding over chicken wire, that I completely forgot something extremely small, feathered, and fast. The keets. Yep, the baby guineas had been out enjoying their daily adventure, and suddenly it hit me. I had minutes before my big kids' basketball game, and I had not wrangled the chaos birds back into their six-wheeled mobile brooder box. So picture this: me, barefoot and flustered, sprinting around the back of my house, pushing this glorified Mars rover full of fluff nuggets, desperately trying to lock everyone down like it was Keat kindergarten pickup in a wind tunnel. But here's the good news. I made it. Keats secured, kids in correct uniforms, basketball shoes on, water bottles packed, and I rolled into that game like a frazzled farm goddess with feathers in my hair and victory in my heart. So, yes, the world may be a mess, but over here, we're still clocking wins, one tiny squawking bird and one slam dunk at a time. And that, my darlings, is your Saturday spin through the circus tent. Bombs were dropping, maps were mangled, and I wrangled poultry with the precision of a caffeinated ninja, all before the first quarter tip off. The world may be unraveling faster than a cheap wig in a wind tunnel, but we're still out here showing up, speaking up, and laughing through it. Stay hydrated, stay fabulous, and if you see me chasing Keats with one hand and one live streaming with the other, mind your business. Or at least send snacks.